And we've got to my left right here from the Carolina Panthers, a man who played in this game just a couple of years ago. He's a finalist for the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award to be given out on Saturday due to his incredible works, certainly in the Charlotte community. Carolina Panther tight end Greg Olsen. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you. So
you sat down. I missed this. Your guy Khalil, our guy Khalil, announced yesterday he's got one more year left.
He's got one more. He's going to play out 2018 season and call it after 12 years.
Just like Thomas Davis said on NFL Network a couple weeks ago.
Two of our guys, two of our captains. So we got a little bit of a change coming at the end of the season.
So do we know, did Spielberg call up Khalil and say, we got a spot for you next year?
I'm sure that's the next call.
Is that what it is?
Guy's talented.
I mean, Mr. USC Film School, right?
It's pretty cool. Some of the stuff he's done, he made a short film that's, I mean, the guy's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, agree. You've seen it.
Well, I go back and forth about Khalil as a film guy because he told me that not this past Star Wars, but the one before it, what was it called? The Last Force or whatever the heck it was called?
The Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens.
I'm not even a Star Wars guy. Somehow I knew that.
He told me, he goes, yeah, take your kids to it. And I'm like, dude, they're like 8 and 5. Are we
right.
good? They lasted 10 minutes each.
Yeah, I only lasted 10 minutes, too. He rented out every year that it comes out. He rents out the entire theater, like one whole theater for the guys on the team.
And he dresses up like Obi-Wan and
I mean, he made shirts one year. We made the Perbaka shirts.
Oh, yeah,
that year we went to the Super Bowl. We were in the playoffs, which was awesome. So it was a great fundraiser, and the fans loved it, and it all worked. But he lives for it. It's the highlight of his year. Every December when the new one comes out, for the week leading up, it's the talk of the facility is if you're going to Khalil's kind of nerd fest.
How many people go? Does everyone go?
Not everyone on the team. He probably takes 15, 20 guys. Okay. He rents the entire theater, though.
So, I mean, why? Who makes the cut here? Who gets the Turk? I mean, to make this event, Greg?
I think it's open invite. Starts with O-line, then tight ends, then offensive players, and then like hand-selected defensive guys. Wow. Luke's like an honorary offensive player. He comes on our O-line tight end camping trip because we need somebody to help us fish and do all manly stuff that we're not good at.
Oh, you guys made that epic camping video this year,
That was good. That was all Khalil. Can't take any credit.
Just taking it straight from Cam's video, right? From
he had it side by side, frame by frame. I mean, it was
incredible.
He's a talented dude.
Greg Olsen here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, man, it's a tight end centric Super Bowl, huh? I mean, both guys. It's crucial here. What do the Eagles do? Let's break it down X's and O's here. What do they do with Ertz that could create the problems for the Patriots on Sunday? Do you think?
I think anytime you're a good running team, anytime you can get into that RPO stuff, you hear so many of the broadcasts and everybody talk about that the Eagles do as well as anybody. The tight end, just from his alignment perspective and just basic formations, he's kind of the guy, right? You're reading inside linebackers. Those are the guys. If they come up on the run fake, you pull it and you throw it if he stays back. So a lot of the times, the first option in those RPOs is the tight end, is that slot receiver. So from that standpoint, schematically, they do a great job. But then athletically, he can split the formation. He can be the single side X and run individual routes. He can be to a 3-man side, a 2-man side in the backfield. His athleticism, his size, what he can do movement-wise, tracking the ball. When you have a guy like that, you see him. You mentioned Kelsey's come on the show. Guys like that, when you want to move around and find ways to get them involved. And I think Doug Peterson does a great job with them.
And then there's Gronk, obviously.
Yep.
Is just his size the difference maker? I mean, you're a pretty big dude yourself.
Yeah, his size, his style of play, he likes contact. He wants that contact. He uses it to his advantage. And then from what they do, so much of the empty stuff, you never know on any given formation where he's going to be. They do as good a job as anybody in the league as far as getting matchups. They put Brady back there, 5 wide. 2 of them could be backs, could be 4 receivers in Gronk. They do it at so many different personnel groupings. And then he just looks across the board and figures out which matchup you want. And a lot of times Gronkowski's matchup against anybody is a good one, and Brady starts with him.
Well, Gronk got knocked out of the AFC Championship game. Kelsey got knocked out of his game against the Titans. Do you think those hits are dirty, Craig?
Yeah, I think the letter of the law says that you can't hit guys in the head, and I know, traditionalists and people say you're changing the game, but what's the alternative? Do we want to see stars of our game get knocked out? You can knock a guy out, break his ribs, right? Go hit him in the chest. I mean, but at the end of the day, do we want to see Rob Gronkowski out possibly of the Super Bowl, possibly in and out of the concussion protocol leading up to the biggest game, Travis Kelce having to leave a playoff game that they end up losing? Those guys are huge parts of this league, huge parts of their team, and to a degree, those hits I think are avoidable. Some of the hits to the head when a guy's going to the ground and you're in a bad position, sometimes things happen. But I think trying to take that out of the game is good for everybody.
Well, Richard Sherman tweeted out after Gronk got hit that the alternative to the hit, was it Church who hit him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That the alternative to the Church hit where he hit him was to go in the knees.
Which we saw against, I think it was against Seattle a couple years ago when Gronk tore his knee up.
And he's like, what would you rather us do? Like, I mean.
I think on paper, and again, I think what those defensive guys have to do playing at that speed, and the target is always moving. You know, he could have caught that ball and lowered, and now all of a sudden a hit to the chest becomes a hit to the face. I get all that. I think the letter of the law, I think on paper what they want to see you do is take your shoulder, your forearm, whatever, and put it square into his chest, his back, his side, his ribs, his hip. I think that's the answer. And again, sometimes that's easier said than done.
How would you change the catch rule, Greg Olsen? Would you change it?
I don't mind the catch rule. I know everyone gets up in arms. I know the Steelers one with James was a big one.
That should be a catch, though. If you're down, if your initial contact with the ground is your knee, ball is in your hands, and you haven't been contacted yet, and then you reach across the goal line as you maneuver the ball that's still in your hands to try and get across the ground. He's still going to the ground, but his initial contact with the ground is his knee, not due to anybody contacting him.
Right, so I think what happens is
the problem
the
here.
gray area, what I think the NFL is trying to accomplish, and you could argue whether they're doing a good job or not. I think what they're trying to argue is, so I was part of what started this. The Calvin Johnson catch was, again, I was in Chicago. He jumped up over our guy for the game-winning touchdown, came down, put the ball on the ground, and stood up, and they ruled he didn't complete the catch. That started this whole craze, then with Des Bryant, the whole thing.
Right.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to take all guesswork for the referees out of the equation. And so they're trying to say, if he's going to the ground upon catching the ball, he must retain possession through the entire catch. Because if not, in slow motion, everything looks like a catch. In slow motion, you can make an argument for anything. So I think they're trying to take that off the table. If you catch it and you're running and you get hit and you go to the ground after you've been established as a runner, ground can't cause a fumble, right? We all played those rules as kids in the backyard. But if you are not a runner, you can't fumble a ball you have yet to possess. And I think that's what they're trying to get accomplished. Whether they can clean up the letter and clean up the wording and the explanations, possibly.
But to me, if I'm interpreting the catch rule, that Calvin Johnson catch is a catch. It's a catch. We all know his intent wasn't that he didn't need the ground to maintain possession of the ball. Okay, that's A. B, the Des Bryant, not a catch, would be a catch and fumble to me. Because he's such a monster physical specimen. You too, Greg. You can make a catch and take up an expanse of 5 to 7 yards with 2 strides of your legs.
Then it should be a fumble.
Then it should be a catch fumble.
Correct.
That's, to me, a catch fumble.
The Pittsburgh one was a clear going to the ground.
No, but it was also his knee was down first.
Without the
ball
touched
in his hands, and then he moved it across, and he breaks the plane and goes down.
It gets very gray.
So don't touch it? You don't think the rule should be touched?
I don't think you touch it unless you have a better solution. And until anyone provides a more clear, simplified version of it,
yes,
I think it's hard to introduce new rules that are just as or more confusing than the ones they're trying to improve on.
Okay, before I let you go, and Jerome Bettis, Pro Football Hall of Famer, joins us. What are you doing here with the Microsoft Create Change program, sir?
So this year we teamed up with them. The Create Change was a way that they could lend their platform to help players who are very passionate about their causes. You mentioned the Walter Payton Man of the Year. My wife and I started after our son TJ has undergone a very complex heart condition and subsequent care. And we started what's called the Hardest Yard program. And we send private duty nurses and therapists into the homes of cardiac families upon discharge to just increase their care, increase the transition into the home. And now, because of Microsoft and this program, we're able to send these nurses in with surfaces, with a custom software cloud program that integrates directly with our doctors at Levine Children's Hospital. So when I brought the kids home, we brought TJ home, we did everything in a journal. Maybe 2 weeks later, you'd go visit the cardiologist. Now you input all of their vital statistics, all of their readings, and it immediately gets sent to the cloud. The doctor can see it in real time. It's been a game changer for us and for our heart families. Well, and again, for your foundation, you can go to receptionsforresearch.org. And you want to talk about a packed field. Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, you, Benjamin Watson, and J.J. Watt. That's a great honor. Thank you. You deserve it. Thank you. You really, really do. Appreciate it. That's Greg Olsen. Follow him on Twitter, as I do, at Greg with 1G Olsen 88.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.